Hi everyone, it's me again. I'm a little sorry about the delay, but as I promised, I just watched the episode for My Hero Academia that came out on Saturday. I'm very sorry I haven't posted it yet. I mean, on Saturday, I went to celebrate Mother's Day with my mom, and I took them to this beautiful place in, I think San Marino. And yeah, it took all day and I was just completely exhausted, and I just watched the episode right now. Also, I'm been busy with I'm reading Higurashi, the original. So I just finished one of the chapters. I think it's called Tsumihoroboshi. I'm sorry if I can't remember the name right, but it's been a thrilling experience and I just can't seem to put it down. I'm thinking of probably doing like a little review because I have to rewatch Higurashi Go because Higurashi Sotsu Setsu is coming this July and I'm really excited with what's gonna happen. But let's get back on track and let's start reviewing the episode for My Hero Academia. So the episode from My Hero Academia, it's called Foresight, and it just gives us like a little preview with what happened on the last episode. As you know, Yaoyorozu and Hagakure were able to pin down to a corner Kurohiro, and a bunch of mushrooms start sprouting from all of them. And we know this is class from 1B's quirk. I believe her name is Kuromori. So we begin the episode. We see that the entire area is covered with mushrooms. You just see them sprouting everywhere. We see Kuromori. She has these guns and she's just spreading everywhere her quirk, all the mushrooms, and it's pretty cute how they look. And also her hero costume is one of my favorite ones. Like, she really looks like a typical mushroom. She looks pretty cute. Then we see President Mike do the introduction for Komori's character. Her name is Komori and her hero name is Shimage. Her quirk is mushroom. She can release a bunch of spores from her body and could instantly grow mushrooms. And of course, if the place is more humid, the faster and the further the mushrooms sprout. Once Komori's quirk is explained, we see how Class 1B begins to have an advantage against Class 1A. And we even get to see Mineta commenting like how freaky the quirk is. It just explains that Komori's quirk, it's really not that dangerous, and the mushrooms that she makes grow on people will disappear within an hour or two. I think that little explanation wasn't in the manga. I think just Awas, I think that's his name is. He says that the mushrooms will disappear in 2 to 3 hours, but I believe he doesn't say in the manga that there will be any lingering effects. I think that's just anime. I mean, another little change that we see within the anime, we see Uraraka and Jiro kind of get creeped out by Komori's quirk. That's anime, that didn't happen in the manga, but it's really cool seeing that how the classmates are getting freaked out by Komori's quirk. Honestly, I do not understand why they're getting freaked out. Honestly, to me, in my opinion, Komori's quirk is pretty awesome. It's one of the coolest I've seen. Hey, growing mushrooms on people randomly and instantly, to me that's something really cool, not creepy. Then we see like a little bunch of mushrooms that are like in the color black, and we see that Kurohiro kind of mixed with one of those mushrooms. It's really cute that they added that little detail. I love this so much. And then we see him remembering his conversation with Kendall when they were thinking about coming up with a plan against Class 1A. So Plan A for Class 1B was for Kurohiro to hijack Dark Shadow and launch a surprise attack. As you know, Class 1A planned to use Dark Shadow to locate the rest of the group. However, we get to see like the little what is the correct word? The little details that that the plan was going to be ineffective. Class 1A, of course, they didn't know that about how much Kurito has improved his quirk to the point that he's able to, like, you know, merge with the darkness and move within it. So they would have never thought that he'll be able to literally possess a dark shadow. Of course, Kurito asks about the risk of him failing this mission. So, you know, he's like really putting himself on the line here. Then we see that Kendo pretty much predicted what was gonna happen, and also Class 1A's plan. Of course, Kendo already predicted the plan for Class 1A pretty easily. She knew if Kurito were to fail or get captured or even make a mistake, Class 1A was not gonna hesitate to use light against them. And this is the flaw in their plan for Class 1A. The moment Class 1A started using the light, they literally gave their location away, and also using the light is gonna make Dark Shadow useless. And she also predicted that if Kurito were to fail, they can surround Class 1A and put pressure on them right away. Of course, we see that Class 1A is getting overwhelmed. Yaoyorozu tells this team, like, you know, we need to calm down and regroup. And finally, we get to see another member of Class 1B use his quirk. And it's one of those like weird, freaky ones. I don't know if people are gonna like it. Some people might not. But honestly, it's like a pretty cool quirk in my opinion. We finally see Fukudashi in action. We see like a bunch of like onomatopoeias literally come to life, and I was like, I was so excited that they have to show this correctly, because in the manga it looks pretty awesome. Finally, President Mike introduces him, Fukudashi. Fukudashi, I believe his full name is Fukudashi Manga. I think it's a pretty weird name, and it kind of suits him, as you know, he has for a face like a comic book panel. His hero name is Comic Man, and his quirk is comic. He can make sound effects and onomatopoeias materialize, literally come to life. And also, depending on the sounds, he can add various effects. Of course, we see Fukudashi now more in action. He's using more onomatopoeias to cause more destruction. So he's like really pushing Class 1A pretty hard. Then we get to see Tokoyami carrying Aoyama. I think Aoyama is trying to pierce through the pipes or some type of wall, but it's way too sturdy for him to even put a dent in it. Then we see a little more about Fukudashi's quirk. He uses the word damp and just makes it extremely humid. Even just hearing the word, I figure out, oh no, this is gonna be bad. Because in the manga he uses damp. I forgot what was the Japanese word, and I'm like, oh, hold up, didn't they say that Komori's quirk, if it's on the right temperatures, like humid conditions, the mushrooms will sprout even more rapidly and even further away? And we see this effect, and a bunch of mushrooms continue sprouting even more faster than before, and even further ahead. One thing I was a little disappointed that they didn't show the effect how it was portrayed in the manga. In the manga, you could see a bunch of mushrooms. In the anime, it was great, but I just had a feeling they should have like put a little more mushrooms to make it look like, with the conditions that Fukudashi used with the word damp, make it more humid. I think they should have used more mushrooms, in my opinion. Then we get to see another anime moment. I couldn't stop laughing at this moment. As you know, Vlad is doing the commentary, and you know he's being biased. He's literally cheering for his students, And of course we see Mina once again saying she's against biased commentary, and you know, some of her classmates joining with her. Even Todoroki is in there. I just started cracking up. I couldn't stop laughing for a while. I mean, I literally had to pause the video so I could just stop laughing, because that moment just was totally random. Even remembering, I just want to crack up. Then we get to see Zero and Sato looking out at their classmates, seeing like the predicament that they are in. We even get to see Uraraka and Deku looking at the screen, and they look all concerned. And then we get to see that Yaoyorozu has been separated from her team. Once Yaoyorozu is separated from her team, Kendo makes her move right away. Of course, we see Yaoyorozu acting fast, and she uses like a shield to literally cover herself. But Kendo's strength, it's quite amazing that she's literally able to break the shield. She puts a great dent into it. And once again, President Mike makes an introduction for Kendo. Kendo's hero name is Battle Fist, which really suits her. As you know, how her fists are literally her power. Her quirk is Big Fist. As you know, she can make her fist incredibly large. And it says that the bigger she continues making her fist, the bigger the punch it packs. This is where I was a little disappointed how they explain Kendo's quirk, because it is a little different in the manga. In the manga, it does say that she can make her fist very big, but it also adds that her strength also increases. And yeah, that's one of the things I kind of didn't like about how they explain Kendo's quirk in the anime. In the manga, it is a little different, and it makes a little more sense. Then we continue with the fight against Kendo with Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu is really going to the defense, and she uses now 2 shields to protect herself. But of course, this isn't doing any good to Yaoyorozu, because Kendo is literally able to punch through those shields. Kendo doesn't want to give the opportunity for Yaoyorozu to think. You know, Yaoyorozu has better grades and is way smarter than Kendo. So right now she just wants to overwhelm him with power and defeat her right away. Even Tetsu starts commenting about Kendo's plan to separate Yaoyorozu from her team and defeat her right there. And he's already almost like saying that class 1B already won. Of course, Todoroki disagrees with Tetsu, and he says that if class 1B is so concerned about Yaoyorozu that they even decided to separate her from the rest of her team, that the best option they could have done was for all of them to attack her at once. And of course, Todoroki starts remembering when he was team up with Yaoyorozu against Eraserhead, and how Yaoyorozu was able to come up with a great plan to defeat Eraserhead right on the spot when Todoroki told her that he had faith in her, and she decided to start believing in herself again. You know, Yaoyorozu, if she's cornered, she's gonna come up with a great plan, and we've seen it, especially in the hero license exam. So it's so nice that they're able to portray these little details about Yaoyorozu. Even if she's alone, she's cornered, she's gonna think of a plan to make sure her team wins. And of course, we see Yaoyorozu fighting back, and my god, I was so excited when they showed this in the anime. Yaoyorozu makes like this huge canyon, and I'm like, oh my god, it looks so nice. Although I wish I would have added those tiny little details you see in the manga panels, but I can't complain, it looked pretty sick. But before we could see any more of this fight, we go back to Tokoyami and Aoyama, where unfortunately they even lost sight of Hagakure. And as they're flying by trying to think of like what to do, Kurohiro is able to recapture Aoyama. Once Aoyama is captured, Komori doesn't waste time and starts sprouting more mushrooms, causing more of these little mushrooms to literally sprout on Tokoyami's face, which hinders kind of like almost his eyesight, and it's making him even go slower. And to make matters worse, Fukudashi is creating more onomatopoeia, which is pushing even Tokoyami even further behind. Then we get to see that Fukudashi is almost at his limit. He said that his throat is getting quite horsey. And Tokoyami, while he's already crashing to the ground, he's able to find Hagakure. And it's pretty funny. I'm glad they added that little detail. Hagakure is literally covered in mushrooms. It was pretty funny even seeing Tokoyami's face like, Hagakure. Honestly, I love that little detail, especially the detail they drew on the mushrooms in Hagakure's body. Then finally we go back to Yaoyorozu's fight. Yaoyorozu wastes no time and immediately fires the canyon. She knows that there's no way that she could win into a physical fight with Kendo, and on that canyon she launches something that will guarantee the victory for her team. And of course Tokoyami spots like the bag flying in the air, so both Tokoyami and Hagakure immediately fly and get the bag. And I love that they added that little detail of Yaoyorozu's lucky bag. I was so glad they added that because I thought it was pretty adorable in the manga, and it looked pretty awesome being animated. I was just so excited for this little moment. Of course, then we go back to class 1B where we see Kurohiro telling Komori that Aoyama has been captured. We even get to see like a little glimpse of him being inside the cute little cell. And then we see Tokoyami literally flying towards him at full force. And we see that he has this thermal goggles. So then we go back a little bit when Tokoyami and Hagakure are able to get the bag, and we see that inside that little bag there were thermal goggles for Tokoyami to use, and there were some disinfectant spray to get rid of the mushrooms. Thanks to these items that Yaoyorozu gave her team, now they have the opportunity to fight back and launch for a counter strike. We see Hagakure now, free of all the mushrooms, is able to attack Fukudashi, who's unable to see her and has no idea how to even attack her. He's completely overwhelmed. Then we see Tokoyami flying towards Komori and Kurohiro, and it's just awesome to see that pose that he does in the manga being animated, because in the manga it looked very sick, and here in the anime it looked really cool. And Tokoyami uses another special move, I think it's called Black Abyss Sabbath, where he strikes both Komori and Kurohiro both at the same time. Of course, Kurohiro is thinking of a way to escape, but he needs something dark to escape to. And of course, Tokoyami already knows this. He gets his cape and literally covers him with it and traps Kurohiro within his cape. And we even get to see Dark Shadow trapping Komori. It looks really awesome. You think that they won, but even I noticed that even in the manga I was pissed what they did, and I'm how good would I explain it? Well, you know, Tokoyami makes a very crucial mistake in not knocking down Komori, which causes him the victory for his team. Komori uses her last ace of her sleeve. She literally puts a mushroom in Tokoyami's windpipe, and Tokoyami starts coughing, and he can't work anymore. He's useless because he's literally choking. Monoma of course comments on Tokoyami's mistake, which honestly I was very mad, both in the manga and even seeing it here in the anime. Monoma of course starts talking about Tokoyami's mistake of him not knocking down Komori and treating this exam more like a training exercise instead of real life. And he's absolutely correct. Even though this is a training exercise, you should treat it like real life, because that mistake is literally what caused the match for his team. And he also explains that Komori doesn't really have a lot of like battle experience. She's not really a person meant to like literally fight head on, but she has really scary methods to kind of protect herself and in a way to attack people, as you can see with Tokoyami and the mushroom spreading on his throat. And of course, once Tokoyami is out, Kendo is able to get back into the fight and trap Hagakure before he could continue doing more damage to Fukudashi. Of course, Kendo apologizes for being late because Yaoyorozu also used her last effort to guarantee a victory for her team. She literally tied herself with a bunch of ropes to Kendo with the canyon still intact within her body. And you see, man, Yaoyorozu really went all out. Even Kendo says that she doesn't even feel that this is a victory for her because Yaoyorozu literally won. Then we see class 1B regroups together. Kendo even asks Komori that she literally used that against Tokoyami. Komori, she says that, hey, we were about to lose. Then we finally get to see a little bit more of the teachers. We see Midnight commenting that Yaoyorozu is going to be a great leader in the future. Deku, of course, is already examining the defeat of his classmates, and he's very proud of everyone of how much that they have improved. And of course, as we know, Class 1B is completely victorious. They have a 4-0 victory. It's a perfect victory. And we see Blab once again with his biased commentary, being all happy that Class 1B won. And of course, Mina and Class 1A, again, they protest against biased commentary. Overall, the episode was very, very quite accurate with the manga. Of course, there were some things where adding like I said, the explanation for Kendo's work was a little inaccurate in my opinion. But overall, the episode was really great. I'm really excited for the next battle. Of course, it has Todoroki. We're gonna see Tetsu in action, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. And honestly, I'm really excited for the next episode to come in. Well, anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna do a little review for the chapters that are coming up, I believe, for this week for My Hero Academia and Black Clover. As you know, last week they were on break, so I wasn't really unable to do much, but I'm planning some other things to post, like, gosh, my disappointment with the second season of The Promised Neverland. I still need to finish watching it, but at the same time I really don't, because God, it's a horrible mess and it just makes me angry, because The Promised Neverland is one of my favorite horror mangas, and it's incredibly disgraceful what they gave us for the second season. If they were gonna literally do this, they might as well just even cancel the whole season altogether. But that's for another video, and I hope to see you then.